Well, hello, friends, and welcome to the Companion to the Companion. Tonight we are all the way on episode 30. We're in the 30s. Even.
30?
This is something else.
Wow.
And it's a big one. We're back to Halloween again. It is 10/31/95 at the Rosemont Horizon in Rosemont, Illinois. It's a little kind of mid-high-end suburb of Chicago. And our second Halloween show. And we're here to dig into it and discuss it. And how are you doing tonight, Ian?
I'm doing great. This show is a monster. It's a monster show.
It's long. There's a lot. It's no White Album as far as songs go. I think it's like 12 or 13 less, but it's a lot. It's a lot to discuss.
It is a lot. It's a big show, from my understanding. Not a great venue. Terrible sound.
Yep.
But people still seem to have had the time of their lives. We were both not there.
Yeah,
but I certainly wish I was. I remember being kind of like floored at hearing they had played the White Album, and then being kind of double floored that they played Quadrophenia. Not just because it's such an undertaking. The songs are so much more complicated than White Album, but beyond that, it was just like kind of more of an underground album, kind of like a weird pick.
Yeah.
Like seemingly, not for everyone, but for the specific few. And there's a lot of lore behind the show, and it turns out, they did the ballot box that they did with the White Album where the fans could vote, and they had that going on. They did that for the White Album, didn't they? Or was it just for Quadrophenia?
Yeah, they did.
They had the ballot box, but apparently somebody stuffed the ballot box, and so Quadrophenia wasn't the true winner, but it was the winner nevertheless.
Yeah, and I think the band very much in this time, and probably still to this day in some ways, but definitely in 95 was we will just do anything.
Yeah.
Right? Like we'll cover anything, we'll play whatever record, and I think they chose this one. And
yeah, and in retrospect, I mean, maybe it didn't have as much of an impact as Remain on Light the following year did on their repertoire as a whole and their jamming style, but I do feel like they picked up a lot from it, and I feel like these musical personalities of Keith Moon for Fishman and Entwistle for Mike and Daltrey for Page, and Townsend for Trey were really great influences on them. And as a big Who fan, I loved listening to the ways in which them picking up those characteristics manifested itself in the music.
Yeah, see, I'm on the other side. I mean, I enjoyed it. I'm not a Who fan. I don't dislike them. I'm just, I've listened to it, everything you're supposed to listen to multiple times. I get it. I like aspects of it.
Right.
And we'll dig into it as to why in Quadrophenia. But there's aspects I don't enjoy, and reading a little bit about it from the band's perspective, I think there's aspects they did not enjoy as well. I remember we talked before about Rob Mitchum's posts when he writes long reviews of shows, and I find them fascinating. And he quotes in the Phish book, there's two quotes. One is from Fishman I liked. It said the dynamics the Who worked were all at the high end of the energy output spectrum. And I've never been more physically drained than after the Quadrophenia set, which says a lot. And then Trey's after was, the funny thing about Quadrophenia is that I didn't consider it that great an album, even after our dress rehearsal, but it totally clicked for me as an arena masterpiece when we played it for a real audience. And that's the one that kind of gets me. I think, like you said with Remain in Light, I think this influenced Phish in that they are a big arena band now. This was 17,000 seats. It's big rock and roll. It's huge boom, 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 drums. Big, there's show, there's pomp and circumstance to the record, and dynamics. Like Phish has always been very impressive with their loud to quiet in their compositions, and I thought this showcased that well. As far as the content of the music, lyrically especially, I have a lot to quibble about, but that's just personal opinion. I think they did a great job.
Sure.
And when it finishes up, coming out the way they did in the third set, I think is a real catharsis. I think, fall 95 is split in half, and this show kind of broke the second half. And it turned out to be some of the best Phish that exists. So we'll get more into it as we push through the next handful of episodes, but this one was a real turning point. And I thought it did have some 94 characteristics, but really kind of embraced some new and is pushing them down the road a little bit. So let's get into it. Let's get into the super tight set one. I mean, let me do my venue history. They
Okay.
played here 8 times. This was the first of 8 shows, which is a lot. Lots of big bands that go through Chicago. This is where they play. Like I said, a 17,000 plus big, even big for them. The mini percussion setup is there for Trey, which is kind of a different, unique thing. Officially Live Phish Volume 14. This is one I think. Did we get this in the little booklet still? Was this like those crappy little plastic? Yeah, I thought
Yeah,
so.
it was the 4 Halloween shows. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think choosing here for Halloween, I don't know if they did this on purpose, but it was built in '79, and I guess there's an episode of Modern Marvels where this is featured as an engineering disaster. So I guess during construction, a big section of the roof collapsed, killed 5 and injured 16. So it was one of these giant engineering disasters that occurred, and maybe Halloween was a choice because spooky spirits, or I don't know. It was a weird thing that kept getting brought up in reviews about the show. So
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of a cool little factoid, and I think the first set opening Iculus, which hadn't been played in a long time, and I think isn't played for 3 or 4 years after this, was kind of the spooky beginning to the whole thing.
Well, before we get I have some things to say about the Iculus, but I'm going to hold off for a second.
Oh yeah.
Any other show notes?
I think that's everything. I think that's kind of my venue and my background of the whole thing.
Okay. Well, I have a few things to say about the Quadrophenia album, just as an album. I hit the Who. I'd say, I knew some Who songs, but it was like right towards the end of high school as I was going through my Led Zeppelin phase, and I just happened to have like the Who's Better, Who's Best, I think was the compilation or whatever. And I used to listen to that all the time, and it had like most of the early stuff on it. And then of course I had like Won't Get Fooled Again and You Better You Bet. Like it was like the greatest hits kind of deal, but mostly focused on early stuff. And I wasn't very familiar with the Tommy Quadrophenia era as far as Who's Next was concerned. I just kind of knew, Behind Blue Eyes, Won't Get Fooled Again, but not the deeper album tracks. And I remember getting this Rolling Stone issue in high school with Eddie Vedder on the cover, and it was a big Eddie Vedder interview, and he had talked about how Quadrophenia was the album that kind of changed his life. Like that was the album, and that Pete Townsend was his hero. And I was like, what's this Quadrophenia album? So I will credit Eddie Vedder with kind of forcing a deep dive for me, because I went out, I spent my hard-earned money on that double disc, and I listened to it, and I was kind of like, I don't know if I get this. It's weird. Lyrics are kind of crazy. Gets kind of dark.
Yeah.
Not all super exciting. But I have to say that having known that he said that and he believed that, which is true of a lot of albums when people kind of say, this is a really important album, it forces you to go back to it over and over again. And over the years, it's become one of my favorite Who albums, and one that is amazing upon repeat listens, and one that I keep getting things out of much more so than some of their other albums, where I feel like there's a lot of depth, a lot of nuance. There's just like a lot of small pockets in there. And at the time, Pete Townsend obviously was getting very into Broadway and like kind of like big productions, because you listen to this and you hear like the modern Phish Broadway, like it's all in there. It's very operatic. You've got themes that are coming and going and tying between different songs. And so there's a lot happening. But I will admit, it's not an album that is just kind of like outwardly like, yeah, that's fucking awesome, man. Like the difference between them playing this and them having played Who's Next. I mean, just like what a crazy, insane, different concert that would have been. A totally different feel, totally different experience. And so I think it is interesting that they chose this, and it kind of speaks to the nerdiness or the sort of dedication of their audience, that we like complicated music. We don't necessarily want the hits. We want the weird stuff. And I think they knew that. They knew they could get away with it. And yeah.
The audience is with them right through. I mean, there's kind of towards the end of the Quadrophenia set, there is a little bit of a slog where the audience is kind of quiet, and you can tell the band's like really like digging deep to get through a lot of material. But I mean, that happened with the White Album too. So these are heavy things to do, and I think as we go further in Halloween album covers discussions, they really have stayed with keeping it fresh and keeping it interesting. But I'm glad that they began with some huge monster rock and roll classic records. Like, it really,
Right.
it makes sense. And this one was great. We'll assess at the end, but this show being on the list is fine. I know people rank Halloween shows all the time up and down. I this is not my favorite, but
Sure.
I still had a great time, and there was some really great music to be had all the way through the show. So
Yeah.
I think this set one is really amazing and tight and perfect. Like, I was very, very impressed. And this is the kind of stuff we talked in '94 where it doesn't veer too far out, but it was great and stylistically diverse, and I loved it. So I think that the third set gets lauded with a lot of praise that I don't feel 100% about, but we'll discuss when we get there.
Yeah.
So talk to me about the book getting its ass kicked, Ian.
I just love it. I mean, honestly, it was such a phenomenal version of Iculus. Yeah, I mean, they're all great.
Yeah.
They're all great. But just the book is getting its ass kicked by evil spirits is very clever and perfectly executed, and got like a big holler out of me.
Evil laughing.
Yeah, and I can't
all of it.
imagine
It was
a
great.
better start to a Halloween show. So I'm just going to go ahead and straight out give it a 10
Spirits.
10 out of 10
Fuck.
to open
Spirits.
the door.
Yeah, I thought so too.
It's such a powerful, incredible, special, magical book. Wait a minute. I don't think it's gonna work tonight. It's too big. I feel too many evil Halloween spirits in the air. I can't take it. The book is getting its ass kicked. The book is not gonna make it through the night. But here we go. It's kind of a battle between the book and the evil spirits. Book, spirits, book, spirits, book, spirits, written by the great and knowledgeable Icarus. Yeah, my children are old enough to read Icarus.
I remembered not loving the Quadrophenia set, and I hadn't listened to the show in a very long time, I think, for that reason. I've gone back and listened to the Yem a couple times to the same result. But I was blown away by this first set, and the energy of the crowd, it's off the charts. This was impressive.
Yeah.
And the Iculus right into Divided Sky was, oof. Like, the joy, I don't know. Everyone's playing through the solo was mind-blowing. Just great.
Yeah, on nights like tonight, on big nights like Halloween, they do a really wonderful job of setting the table. I feel like they're really good at that, and they obviously put a lot of thought into like how it's all going to go down. And you're right, there is a sort of moment just as the Divided Sky is kind of starting up, where you're just like, I just heard that Iculus kind of like telling me this story, and now they're going to play this big storybook anthem, that's just going to like usher me into this world.
Yeah.
And it absolutely does do that.
And to take like that huge ending to Divided Sky, it's always a massive ending with Paige hammering away, and to go straight to Wilson, like again, like the energy there. But unlike some of those 93, 94 shows where I felt like the band had a harder time managing the crowd energy, they do such a good job in this. They're not rushing, they're not missing anything. They're owning the energy, which I think speaks to Quadrophenia. I think it speaks to a band that's ready for arena rock. And the Wilson was a choice. And then, man, the left gear, or the left turn into Yamar also, just amazing. Really amazing. And I thought taking it down a notch, mature, comfortable, everyone has a giant smile on their face at this point. There's less fist pumping, but like really, really, really well done.
Yeah, really nice, bouncy, happy Yamar. Well done. Pleasure to listen to.
Yeah. And then Sparkle, which is Sparkle. It's perfect. It's like they're playing the hits at that point.
Right.
And
But they're also kind of cognizant that, you know, like Sparkle's kind of a dark song and a happy song, and they're kind of like skirting that
yeah,
line too. So
sure.
perfect for the set list.
And then Free, which like you can tell they're really proud of this song. They played a lot this tour. And that before Free decided to be funk in 97, the 95 and 96 Frees were very cool. And this one visually I don't know, something about it. This one really got under my skin. It's short, but it was fire. And this is Trey on the mini drum kit again.
Mm-hmm.
And you can just see those blue and like purple lights shifting and with like, you know, mechanical precision. And it's mind melting. It's short, but it was great. I miss these old ones. I wish they'd kind of play it like this every now and then.
Yeah, well, they don't need to be long, you know, when they're like that.
No.
You know, they get it to the heavy kind of like psychedelic layering and the almost kind of sounds industrial. I'm not sure
Yes.
how to describe
Yes.
it.
No, absolutely. Yeah. And the atonality to it is very brave to do. And I think the happy Mike playing bass synth solos versions now are cool. Like Mike Gordon can solo all night. I'm happy. Yeah. But I miss these ones sometimes. So I'm glad we're going to be able to listen to a bunch. And then from that to Gaiuti too. Oof. Like, and this Gaiuti was also, we've heard a bunch of good ones already, but you can tell the little details like are getting worked out. And
indeed.
This is album ready Gaiuti.
Yeah, it's fairly perfect. And yeah, I love these early ones because they're few and far between, but lots of passion and pride, like you said about the Free. I love it when you can hear the pride.
Yeah. I feel like once you get close to the band, you can get it. And then talk to me about the Antelope. What do you think?
I mean, it wasn't like a mind-blowing Antelope, but I thought it was like a solid 95 Antelope. I mean, for the end of a first set, I've certainly got no complaints. What'd you think?
Yeah. Kind of the same, like good standard, intense. There's this moment that really I had to make a note about right before the Rai Rai Rocco part when they've broken down already. Trey starts to play this lick for a second. It's like a 4-second part. Trey plays this lick for a second and Fishman just jumps on it right away. Right. And it almost feels like they could have done a 5-minute improvisational jam on that one little 4-second moment. So it just showed ears. It showed the band was like chomping at the bit and excited. And they really had to wait, 2 hours from this point, 2.5 to really improvise. So maybe they were just kind of chomping at it. And then more stories to finish.
Yeah, then Harpoon to finish it off, which is always like a special treat. Definitely got a little bit weird. Mike tells a story in it about some raccoons, and it definitely is Mike's Cornerish, if you all are familiar with
raccoons
Mike Gordon poetry. Yeah, it's definitely strange. I feel like it's one of those things that, you know, if you're a first time fan or you didn't know much about it, you'd probably be a little bit like, what am I seeing? What am I listening to? But I think from our perspective, it's very funny.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I was laughing.
Yeah.
I think funny, bringing some humor and levity to, but also a little spooky in its own way.
Yeah.
And it was cool to hear them give Mike the keys.
I was just
Normally
going to
it's
say
the
that.
Trey
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, usually Trey
Yeah,
gets to
I
tell
thought
the
that was
story, and I really enjoyed that Mike got to tell it. Yeah. I
Yeah,
wish he had that
and
opportunity.
he does a great
more
job.
often. Yeah.
I wonder whose call that is. You know, I wonder
Yeah.
if they're just like, all right, Trey, you're the storyteller, you handle it. But I thought this one was really funny.
Or if Trey was like, Mike, do you remember that night when you were like going off on all the raccoons? You should do that during the Harpua.
Totally tell that story. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm ready. I'll just
something
scream
like
about
that.
raccoons in the bedroom.
We did fail to mention
And also
that,
there's-
that Phish was kind of teasing that they were going to do the Michael Jackson Thriller album. So we've had
Yes.
a couple of teases up to this point
Yep.
in the concert, and then there'll be one at the outset of the show, kind of like they did with the Ed Sullivan. So
Yep.
they're kind of messing with the fans. Kind of makes you wonder, just as a side note, will they ever play Thriller?
I don't know. Probably not at this point.
Yeah.
I like the idea of Phish being the backing band and getting the best cover band frontman sometimes for an
Yeah.
album.
Right.
Not instrumentally, but vocally. Page does an exemplary job in this show. The band better than the White Album. I think they do great.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that said,
Yeah.
like I'm curious, like a Bon Scott impersonator kind of thing to do AC/DC.
Well, I've heard that mentioned in rumors for the MSG Sphere in Vegas, that they'll do
Yeah.
Halloween, but they should do it with like a real singer, do like a cover album, but get the proper musicians to make it like super legit and then use imagery from the album. And we'll see. I don't know if they can pull that off or not. And it is, to me, it's questionable whether they'll ever do another cover album.
Yeah, they don't need to.
No, yeah, I don't think
And
so.
I thought the last few were pretty bad. What the Bowie I didn't love, and I also did not love. I don't know. People love Waiting for Columbus.
Waiting for Columbus. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that record, and I was not super. It was okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really, really love a lot of aspects to that band, and I don't think Phish was fired on all cylinders at that show. But
You
it's
know
okay.
who was, though?
I'm staying up.
Michael Gordon.
Yes,
You could go
yes,
back
I
and listen
agree.
to Waiting for Columbus and just hone in on Mike and just be like, damn,
Yeah.
that's pretty good.
Oh yeah, no, I still listened to it a few times, but I see why they're doing what they do now, and they do it really well. So.
Yeah. And I agree, just as we're on the topic, I just want to give a huge shout out to Paige. His vocals on Quadrophenia
Oh, yeah.
are spectacular to the point where I'm like, why are you letting Trey sing? Just
Yeah.
just let Paige sing. So
Yeah, dominating,
Yeah.
really great.
and just his voice is just perfect for Daltrey. It's just a great matchup. And it works.
Yeah,
with
the growling and the upper register he doesn't quite get to,
Sure.
but that's you're not. He's also playing piano, like he's not just
Yeah.
standing there in tight jeans,
Yeah, and this is Roger frickin' Daltrey we're talking about. It's
Mhm.
got a Roger Daltrey cape on. It's got a cape on.
He does.
Okay.
Paige should have worn a cape. It would look good. Whipping around when he spins from piano to organ, and yeah.
All right, so let's get into the set. This is what I want to say. I haven't listened to it in a while.
Sure.
And I, like
Yep.
you, remember it being a little on the slop side. So not something I would go back and listen to a lot. Maybe it was because I went in with low expectations, but I was really impressed, particularly with the first disc of the album.
Sure.
And I think, like you said, like as the album went on, it was harder to keep the momentum going, to keep the audience engaged, and the music from Quadrophenia becomes much more. It's bigger and more operatic. It has more space. It's a little bit harder to manage on the second disc, I think, especially when
Sure.
we get to like Bellboy. Anyhow, great. I thought I Am the Sea is awesome. I can imagine being a Who fan, you don't know what they're playing, and then you're like hearing this, and just be like, holy shit, are they going to play
Yeah.
Quadrophenia? It must have been
Yeah.
quite a moment. So,
And with the
to
real
me,
me, like coming out of the gate with the horns, and
yeah.
there's some real like guitar god stuff between the real me and Quadrophenia that at the top here that I love.
Oh yeah,
And
for
I saw
sure.
what Trey was doing.
Yeah, the real me,
Yeah.
like they've got the horn, so it takes a second to get balanced a little bit.
Yep.
But yeah, definitely rock star stuff. And then Quadrophenia is the third song. And what that is it's a combination of all the themes that come
Yeah.
throughout the rest of the two discs. So there's 4 separate main characters and 4 separate themes in Quadrophenia, and they're all kind of addressed in that particular composition. And I
Yeah, the
actually
4
think,
aspects of the band, the
Sure.
4-headed main character, I like that concept for the record. I could see Pete Townsend coming up with that and having a bunch of music and working that out. And I like the themes. I like the idea. I don't know. For me, Phish at this point doing this was a ballsy choice. And I think, like a third of this lands really perfectly. A third of it's like, okay, that was good. And a third's like, ugh, I'm a little bit bored. Not because the playing wasn't exemplary and like the writing is interesting. There's just so much about clothes and hair and clicks and like late 50s to mid 60s British culture that is I'm not steeped in. I wasn't a post World War II child. Like there's a lot of the Roger Waters stuff that I get, but sometimes like, man, I can't connect with you because you went through something harrowing that I didn't, and you were in a war. Your country was in a war. People lost their families and loved ones and trying to rebuild after that and then make rock music that's happy. Like there's a point where that sadness seeps in or weird. I don't know. There's an aspect to the culture that I think goes over my head.
And there's an aspect of mental illness to this particular album.
Sure.
I mean, it is about like mental illness and breaking. And yeah, it has all the sort of hallmarks of teenage disappointment, know, and being uncool and trying to fit in. And it's got like a lot of, it's almost like Pete Townsend tried to think of all the themes that would apply to like a teenage person, but he like took it like a little bit too far and added like a little bit too much history to it. But yeah, I think to me, I know what you mean, but I listen to it and I'm kind of like, oh, well, listen to him paint this story. He's telling a story and he's painting a picture of an environment that's kind of bringing me into it, but it's not exactly the most like welcoming or positive or psychedelic environment per se. But
yes, I agree.
But as a side note, I just want to throw out that if several years ago, probably 10, The Who released like an alternate version of Quadrophenia on like a deluxe, reissue. And it's thinner. It's just like sparser Entwistle's bass is a little bit more in the foreground. It's a little funkier, and it's a little bit clearer in its intent. Like it's an earlier version, and it's a little bit more upbeat. So I would recommend everyone going back and listening to it.
Huh.
Like they have the original version on it, and then you can listen to that version. And it's not every song, but it's most of the songs, and I think it's killer. I mean, I've listened to the Quadrophenia album. It's literally one of those. I've listened to it hundreds of times. At least 100 times. It's one of those where I was going to paint and I'd be like, I'm just going to throw on Quadrophenia. It's comfortable for me. So when I got that new version, it was kind of like a new doorway was open, and I was like, I have a whole new version of Quadrophenia
really cool.
now, which is so cool.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'll have to go listen. That sounds fun. So do you want to highlight things? What do you feeling?
I think it's interesting because it's a rock opera, it all kind of flows together. So there isn't there are individual songs and stuff, but I really do think that almost the whole first disc, which is through I've Had Enough, is pretty great. Helpless Dancer is the one where Trey sings and he kind of loses it a little bit and then kind of giggles because he messes up and everybody laughs because he's got to sing this. It's like
it's kind of interstitial song too.
Yeah.
Like it's a piece between pieces.
Yeah. And that's like really the only moment. But no, I don't have a lot to kind of pull out other than Quadrophenia, where I just think you have all these different themes, and I feel like the band really does an amazing job of understanding what the goal is and pulling it off with panache.
Yeah, there's a couple points I felt it hard for them. I think they consciously made an effort to not improvise on the album, which later later Halloween shows they would choose consciously to improvise on the songs. And in the Dirty Jobs, there was a real moment where there's some tough vocals on that one. I think they pushed through, but it almost sounds at one point like they could have taken off. There were a couple moments where I felt that. Yeah. I thought Trey's solo, like in a couple places in songs, I liked that he was emulating a different guitarist. I really like when he does that. It shows his skill.
Yeah.
And he stops playing like Trey. And he's still him, but it's really great. I love when they do like their Zeppelin covers and in general, and I hear him playing the Jimmy Page stuff just perfect. And there were some moments in this too where it was that Guitar God stuff. It's arena rock, and I thought Fishman too, kind of Keith Mooning with big, huge, lots of toms, lots of big fills. I believe he was exhausted because it's a lot of structure and a lot to learn, but also he was attempting to emulate one of his heroes. I thought it was beautiful. But it's like you said, where like Sea and Sand and Drowned were a nice combo in the second half because those songs are really close to me. I saw both of them at 2 shows later that were both magic. But the Bellboy, Dr. Jimmy was all kind of like, ugh.
Yeah. Like, and those are weird songs. They're just like the content of those songs lyrically are a little uncomfortable. Yeah.
Yes. And it's an okay ending.
Yeah.
And I think like the Dungeons and Dragons-ness of the rock, and then giving Fishman the keys too for the Love Reign Over Me. I mean, he gives everything.
Right.
It's whatever you want to say. There's some bad stuff in there. There's some oof.
Yeah.
But magic, arena magic. He is giving it. I mean, come on. Like, he left it all out there.
And I do remember from when we saw Loaded, and there's like so much anticipation, so much like energy and emotion building up to seeing like a Phish Halloween show that when they played I Found a Reason and Mike sang it, and it was like I don't know why it was funny, but it was just funny. Do you remember that? Where
Yeah.
like kind of like
Oh yeah.
and the
Yeah.
audience was like literally just laughing at Mike, just like with his voice, just kind of like singing this like such
Honey.
a heartfelt song. And I felt that way about Love Reign Over Me, where I was just like,
Yeah.
we need the laugh. Just let us laugh. Like,
It's catharsis. Give us a
Yeah.
break. Yeah.
yeah.
That was a lot of
I
heavy
thought that
shit.
worked great.
Yeah.
And
And
you're
they
right.
made it to the end. They were celebrating.
Exactly. I did want to mention that you're right. The Dirty Jobs was another highlight. And then once we get to 515, which is the beginning of the second disc, you know, even though it wasn't like a perfectly rendered song, and it actually is one that I'd love to see them cover again, because I just love the refrain of "Out of My Brain on the Train, on the Train." Granted, Trey's probably not going to play that song anymore, but I feel like as an East Coaster, a lot of people are just like, "Out of my brain on the train." I feel like you guys were probably on the train a lot, out of your brains. So I would have to assume that lyric is resonating, but
Yeah.
it's just me.
I thought that was pretty rocking too. Good solos.
Yeah,
I love solos over horns. Like it was great.
yeah, and then
Yeah, a lot of moments. I would recommend everyone listen to it, but also if you're getting bored, skip a song.
Totally.
You know, if you need to.
Yeah, you should listen to the actual album. I mean, you don't necessarily have to listen to this one. And then in terms of Drown, Sea and Sand, obviously great, and Drown both become, popular covers for the band. And not that this Drowned is like the greatest version ever, because it isn't. But I think that you can hear potential. It is interesting just listening to it and just being like, Phish could really take this out for a drive. It's got the rollicking melodic piano that is just like perfectly in Page's wheelhouse. It's got the ocean theme. And I think probably the audience was just being like, this is the song. And frankly, as I was the first time I listened to this album. The first time I ever listened to Quadrophenia, Drowned was the one that made me go, that's the banger. So I get it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we chose, I guess we can just stick this in here, but we chose to discuss Drowned this show.
Oh.
Let's make a 3-set show even longer.
Indeed we did.
But Ian and I decided to go listen to a bunch of Drowns, and this is the only song from this that got pulled out and added to Phish's repertoire.
Mm-hmm.
They've played it 47 times, which is no slouch.
Mm-hmm.
It's their one big Who song, and there were 19 jam chart entries, so it definitely was a vehicle for improvisation, even though it wasn't at this show.
Correct.
I like it a lot. I love Mike's vocals in it. I like how earnestly he pushes the vocals, and I really enjoy the style of jam that it creates, because it is similar across the board. Mm-hmm. There's some, like everything, there's some 97s that get funky, but I really enjoyed listening to a bunch of these. What did you think?
Yeah, no, me too. They're all kind of standard energy bombs for the first 8 minutes or so, no matter when they're played. Kind of, depending on the style that they're playing in that year. But yeah, it was a blast.
But they do change.
What's that?
Like they do get into improv.
Very much so. Yeah, very much so.
In a very cool way. But they are those big rollicking. And God, Page's solo in this fucking, like between the vocal parts is some of these ones, like I would have to rewind and go back because it was unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. No, there are 3 30-minute drowns. There are several that are 20 plus minutes. So yeah, they get into it. And we did select 3. I will add, this is like a thing where the next time they played Drowned was at New Year's 95. And it is an absolutely historic performance. I mean, it was one of the standouts of the show, and certainly a version that everyone should listen to. I always kind of assume with shows like New Year's 95, like, of course, you know Phish, you've listened to New Year's 95, you know the Drowned. But if you don't, definitely listen to it. I'm not sure if Sam's
And I don't know that's where, I don't know if that's where everyone's going to jump to.
Right.
In that show chocked full of amazing stuff. So
right. Although that was a standout for, you were at the show, and I remember when you and Ryan were describing it to me, and maybe you decided to make that a standout of the show because you knew I was a Who fan, but that was kind of like, oh, you got to hear the Runaway Jim Drowned. Like that's the.
Well, everyone had talked about how Halloween was so cool that, this being the next time it was played, and Sea and Sand was played.
Right, correct.
In a very pivotal moment. So my 3 drowns I chose were all ones I saw.
Uh-huh.
And all 3 of them, if I had to make a list of top 10 Phish shows I've ever seen, all 3 of them are on that list.
Oh.
So Drowned has been played at a significant number of the best Phish shows I've ever seen.
That is a cool
And
stat.
some of the most historic Phish shows. So yeah, my number 1 is New Year's 95.
Yeah.
And I mean, the show is full of everything. But I'd also like to go on the record here discussing this Drowned. So again, Page's solo is just ripping. I can't say enough about it. And at about 6.5, it kind of pushes into type 2 jamming. And the sound in this show, like I've listened to it like
so
you
crazy.
said 100 times.
Amazing.
But it sounds so good.
Yeah.
And there's a sound to just this show. So the jamming is great. Fire on the Mountain Tees, I say no still.
I say no.
I don't know what all these goddamn fucking people are talking about.
I'm with you.
It has been talked about forever. It's people, I don't know who it is. It's like there's one person who has to push this theory. Phish is not, I mean, intuitively playing a 2-chord structure that is somewhat similar to another song doesn't make it that song.
Yeah.
And I've never heard it. I still don't hear it. I listened to it again for this. Didn't hear it. I don't know where this is. And I have a lot of years of listening and playing to music. I understand where people think it is.
Yeah.
But it's not really there.
Right.
Anyway, that aside, amazing version of Drowned.
And I also would agree. I mean, if we're being real about this exercise, and I'm saying like I'm choosing 3 drowns to go back to on the reg, New Year's 95 is on my list as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I love if you're going to venture out of that for
I will, a
a
little
good
bit.
reason.
Yeah. I did want. I have a feeling this is going to be on yours too, but I'm looking at the 19 entries on the Fishnet Jam chart, and I'm just going to be real. I'm not picking on you, Fishnet. I'm just assuming this was just a simple oversight. But the fact that Ventura 98 Drowned is not on this jam chart is, I mean, it's a mistake, right? It's a mistake.
That's my number 2.
It has to be a mistake.
I don't understand because it opens set 2 of an incredible show.
Yeah.
And it begins with aggressive intent. It is we're standing on the dirt on the beach, basically.
Right.
Ventura is a really cool, not a great venue to see the band, but a beautiful place in the world.
Right.
And both 97, 98 shows were amazing there. And Sea and Sand was played at this show as well, just like New Year's 95 and just like Halloween that we're discussing.
Right.
And the energy was just, the band is just showing off. And then there's that really sick slowdown at like 11 minutes that's so bluesy and cool. And then the way it segues into like one of my hands down favorite Makasupas that I've ever, that probably isn't on the fucking jam charts either. They put the Caspian from this show on the jam charts, which is good. I'm not saying it's amazing. And this is not on that.
It has to be an oversight.
Spittling, I'm so angry.
Yeah, because you're right. The segue into Makasupa is just downright glorious. I mean, it's just
the key shift and Mike's like monstrous bass notes and like gooey Trey blues solos.
Yeah, and Page's keys, the whatever he's doing with his keys, the it's amazing. Yeah.
So I mean, everybody should listen to 72098 all the way through, but this starting set 2 with this Drowned through the Makasupas, and I remember after the show we had good audience recordings, and I wore that shit out. Like we listened to it so many times. Ugh. So anyway, my first 2 are now spoken for.
Okay.
Talk to me.
Yeah, those are going to be my 2 as well. But and then I'm going to choose for my third 12/11/97, the Rochester show in fall 97, just for the attack. I mean, just like that show, they were just like so plucky. They're so plucky. Yeah. Just like everything about that show. It's kind of it's fall 97, so obviously it can't really be an underdog, but I do feel like it is a little bit of an underdog for fall 97. And yeah, the Drowned is great. Just the attack in the first 8 minutes. Like you mentioned before, the way Phish listens to Trey and like attacks Trey's playing. Oh dude, it's so great. Apologies to the listeners.
Dude.
And yeah, and it just ends with the classic 97 funk that just makes me happy. And it's just swinging, it's dancing, and it's perfect the whole time. So.
Yeah, I enjoyed that a lot too.
Yeah.
I was really tempted to do one of the there's a couple 97s I liked a lot. Mm-hmm. But we'll get into slightly arguing territory on it. But my third one was from 12/31/99.
Oh,
now,
really?
The Drowned itself is short.
Yeah.
Technically. But what it does is it pushes into an after midnight reprise that then basically goes into a 20-minute Drowned jam.
Okay, well, if that's where we're at, then that's my number one.
So but for me, I would glue all that together because it's still in the same key as Drowned, basically, and it does what a Drowned jam would do, and then goes some really fascinating places, and the territory it covers is big and breathe it. It's all the New Year's 99 stuff, which honestly I've never been able to connect to the same way as I did when I was there.
Yeah.
Like I won't go. We're gonna have to discuss this. God, that's gonna be a long episode. But when we get there, I will discuss a lot about how that I can't connect to it the same way. Still, It's weird. It's weird. I have a weird feeling about that show. I don't know, but I really enjoyed pulling this out and listening to it on its own. It was great.
Side note, I can totally connect to it. And
No, I still love it. I'm not,
it's so funny because that would have been my choice. But I had, and I'm not putting this on you, but I do have a memory of after the show being asked what the highlight, and I said the Drown Jam, and then I don't know if it was you or Ryan or whoever it was, Bill, I couldn't say, but they were like, no, that was an After Midnight Jam, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I thought it was Drowned. I thought they just kind of teased After Midnight, and then it was a Drown Jam. So tomato.
That's how it felt.
Yeah, it's
re-listening to it.
Incredible.
That's really how it felt.
Yeah, I mean, that's like one of those moments of Phish where they, they were doing it towards the end of '99 and then into 2000, but where they really tapped into that sort of, it's just so calm. It's like this repetitive computer calm. I don't know how to describe it, but it is just kind of like it puts you into this musical trance that is unlike any other music that I know.
Yeah. And it was preceded by that beautiful little Page kind of almost solo piece.
Yeah.
That was really nice. It just bookended in this really nice way. And it's kind of in this place in the set where My Soul was before it. You could tell they were kind of building up to some more rock and roll for a minute.
Right.
And then the way, like you said, it oozes out into the jam really well. And then After Midnight's big and rocking, but the jam itself is very, very fluid and very relaxing. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
I've gotten lucky with this song. It's one of those songs for me where, as aforementioned, not a giant Who fan, but this song kind of followed me around for a little while.
Right. Yeah, and I think I listened to some 3.0 Drowns, and some of them are really great. And I, as we kind of get deeper into this podcast, and I start to question my opinions on 3.0, I feel like so many of the negative things that I have to say really just stem from Trey's tone. Like, I feel like lots of times I love what he's playing, and I love what everybody's playing, but there's just something about that tone. I hate to harp on a point.
Yeah. but you've seen them live a lot. Like, the tone live is also not your favorite.
No, it's better live. It's better live than it is on recording, but it's still not my favorite. No. And I'm so attached to like these, like in that 12, 11, 97, like all those tones. I'm just like, oh, that's Magic Trey. I love it. Just love it.
Yeah. I think ever since Mike left SWRs and went to David Eden's too.
Oh,
I want to say it was like, it was when they came back. It was 3.0, not even 2.0, I think. I just not a big fan of the Switch. I thought the SWRs were bigger and warmer, and the David Eden attack is like sharper and snappier, but It's not. It's yeah. I still like previous Mike. I like big round Mike.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Old
complaints.
guys are so annoying.
Complaints.
Well, we should address the 9/14/00 2000 Darien Center, New York version, because it does appear that that is one of the primary reasons that that show was released as a live release. At least I assume so. It's over 30 minutes. It's the meat of the set, and it got an official release. This is what it says on on the jam chart. Phenomenal masterpiece of improvisation. It's challenging jam to appreciate. May take several listens to fully appreciate, but it's well worth the effort to get your arms and head around this magnum opus. I have listened to it several times. I can't figure it out. I plan to one day, but it hasn't hit me just yet. Thoughts?
Maybe I'll keep this on my radar, and I'll like the next time I want a half hour of deep, I'll put it on.
Weird polyrhythms. Yeah, and it's like one of those jams where I find it hard to latch on to sections, although there are a few really cool sections. Do love the Susie on that show, though. And then the last one I want to mention is 62004. So this is going to be a 2.0 version. And yeah, there is something that happened on 619 and 62004. Something happened in the same way that something happened on 1029/94. Something happened on those two nights. And are they great all the way through? Is this round great all the way through? No. There's a part around 12 or 13 minutes of this round where I'm getting very frustrated. And I'm like, what are you doing? But the last 10 minutes is fucking incredible. And just some of the rhythmic stuff that they get into at this period in their career is just, it's pretty mind-blowing. And I really do love it. I think I can listen to 619 and 620 with a sort of a filter and just be like, look, I can listen to this 20-minute jam. It's going to be a couple minutes that are a little off, but there's going to be a lot of minutes that are really incredible. And I think that both of those shows are worth one's time.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of Drown touched a lot of really good shows.
Yeah.
And I found it interesting that it doesn't come up a lot. And I think it's an interesting choice when the band does pull it out.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah. I saw a great version in Santa Barbara in 2014. I remember that was like one of those like ocean sets. I think it was like Drowned Waves, whatever. Yeah. They were doing all that because they were playing by the ocean. But I do remember kind of being like, oh, awesome, they're playing Drowned. And then it did the little spacey thing, and then it had a great little ending to it, and it was very cool. It almost made my list as well. So, yeah, it's a song that I think they know is kind of special, and when they do play it, they give it the love.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Speaking of longer songs, do we get into set 3?
Let's do it.
The longest You Enjoy Myself to date, still, I believe?
Yeah.
What's your hot take?
I mean, it's a 95 You Enjoy Myself. It's great. I love listening to it. but compared to some other yams, there aren't like these sort of like super catchy sections or something that really like enrapture me where I'm like, God damn, that's badass. But I do think as like a polyrhythmic beast that's just incredibly fishy and fun. Yeah, I mean, I think it's spectacular. I think it's the kind of jam that I would throw on when I was painting or drawing or cleaning or building something, doing something, as opposed to like an eyes closed, close listen.
Yep. Yeah, I did the eyes closed, close listen, and I'm kind of mixed on it. I appreciate a lot of sections. I thought it's pretty standard, great. You enjoy myself, triumphant. They're so happy to be out there, and there's this big peak at like 14, and they could have wrapped it and made it a 20-minute you enjoy myself, and they didn't, and they pushed out. And there's some kind of Pink Floydy jams in there at certain points, and it gets really deep and dark. And then there's a transition into the vocal jam where you think it's about to happen. At 24 and a half, Trey starts scat singing a bunch, and then it doesn't. They were actively trying to push it. So it doesn't go into the jam. It goes into like a machine-like breakdown. And I thought there were some really beautiful, massive sort of groove sections at the very end. It was like post 32 minutes. There were some really like 31, 32. I get why they dug for that. You know, they're mining gold down there, and it was great. I think being at the show, if Quadrophenia was a lot to handle, this was a really nice catharsis of just improvising, and then for the Bandan audience,
especially if you didn't know the album, for sure. But it does feel a little bit forced. I agree, like not like forced in a bad way, but like you said, they made a conscious decision to keep it going, to make a big monster out of it. And they did that. And the vocal jam is pretty funny, as always.
Yeah, I mean, we've discussed this at other shows where sometimes it works.
Yeah.
Recently, of course, dates will fail me now. But recently, when they opened Funky Bitch and then went into a half-hour jam, there were parts that were great and parts that were forced. So it does have a little 94-ishness to it. Mm-hmm. But 10 out of 10, I'm going to choose Albany from, a month after this.
Of course, yeah.
Every fucking day.
Yeah.
5 weeks after this or whatever, but we'll this was good. I really had fun on the re-listen. There were moments, little bits I picked out that I may go back and listen to, but doing the full 40 minutes might not happen all the time. But like you said, background for painting, if you're focused on something else, really nice improvising, and just great play by the band. I mean, these are the only headphones in the book, are the You Enjoy Myself and the Jesus Just Left Chicago. And forced headphones, I can't tell. Maybe. I don't know. What'd you think about the Jesus?
Well, this is the interesting thing about Jesus is when I listened to it twice. So when I listened to the full Yem and then it segued into the Jesus, there was like this really powerful, I felt like this really powerful emotional hit right when the Jesus Left Chicago started. Like kind of almost like I was coming out of this Yem tunnel. And then I knew there was going to be this like slow burn, powerful blues, and I knew it was coming. And just like for some reason that da, da, like it just really struck a chord in me. When I went back and listened to it just on its own, it didn't hit me that hard. So it kind of goes to show how the juxtaposition of things, kind of does make a difference. But it is a blowout Grippo sax solo. I mean, that's what it's all about. This is not about
Trey gives his solo away, which I thought was beautiful.
He does. Yeah. Trey just hangs back and just gives it to Dave, and Dave goes off. And it's a really cool sax solo because I don't listen to it like this guy's the most fucking like the best saxophone player in the world. Listen to this guy shred. It's not like that. It's like this guy's like a really, really good saxophone player and he is blowing his heart out. This is a man that knows this is like a huge audience for him, maybe one of the bigger ones he's ever going to get. And he is absolutely playing his heart out to this song. And the emotion just floods through his performance. And so where I wouldn't categorize it as like a perfectly virtuosic performance, I feel like it is very moving.
Yeah, I had some Clarence Clemens kind of vibes to his playing a few times.
Yeah.
And it made me wish, like, oh, maybe Phish could have done an album from The Boss. Like, the singing would have been hard. But, yeah, I thought it was really cool and different and very celebratory after a nice piece of music.
Yeah.
And I like when we saw the Loaded Halloween show in Vegas, 98, the first set was great, like this one. Like, tight, interesting. There was some cool moments to kind of write home about. The Loaded set itself was mind-blowing. Great stuff. Everything about it. When it hit the third set, they came out and did a giant Wolfman's Brother. And I mean, say what you want about the Wolfman's Brother. I'm sure it gets headphones in the book because it's like 40 minutes too. It wasn't amazing. It had its moments, but you could feel a weird vibe in the room, in the crowd. I guess Trey said he kind of tanked that set because he was getting bad vibes or people like fighting in the front of him or something was going on. I'd like to get more into that. But this kind of had that feel where instead of tanking the set, this was one of the most perfect exclamation points ever put on a show.
Yeah.
I think that this set puts it on the top 100. Just barely for me because the first set was great. The Quadrophenia set was interesting and unique, but musically does it, where our friend Matt listens to these and has been commenting on our episodes and getting back into Phish is a guy we saw a lot of shows with and I played music with and we all lived with at different times and he's doing his tax takes. So hi Matt. He recently said that a lot of the shows on this list seem to be gimmicky.
Right.
Or they had they had to be like a New Year's or a Halloween or something blah blah blah. It was or they did some weird thing or there was one giant jam. I think this show kind of has enough just in this third set to push it over that limit because this You Enjoy Myself is a big jam. They did an entire album that's gimmicky. Yeah. There's super tight playing in other places. And then the way they roll this out, where it's You Enjoy Myself, Jesus Just Left Chicago, Day in the Life with Horns, which was amazing, Susie Greenberg, which was kind of a dance party, and then the encore was really nice, like tight and small and quick. It's a great set of music, and it's not too long. Everyone's tired. It was really just fucking well done.
And then you got the Day in the Life, which is a nod to the previous year, but still they're doing a different Beatles song, kind of like building that up. And we'll get to the My Generation. And
amazing.
We'll get to the My Generation in a second, which is the encore.
Yes.
But what did I want to say? I did want to say something, and that was that The Who, it's the band The Who, played Quadrophenia live in 1995, but they played it with sheet music. They had an orchestra, they had sheet music, the band had sheet music. I mean, the band was playing this, that wrote it, and they're performing it live, and they're looking at sheet music because it's complicated as fuck. It's a complicated album, and there's a lot of different themes, and there's a lot going on. And Phish fucking memorized it. It's not even their music. And I think that, when our friend Matt, mentions that things are a little bit gimmicky, I say that, and that is kind of a gimmick. The Who didn't, the Who used sheet music and Phish didn't. But at the same time, that's fucking awesome. It's an achievement, and it colors the experience of listening to it.
Yeah.
So I think all in all, just an incredibly impressive night. They close it out after Day in the Life with Susie Greenberg, just typical, rockin' dance party to finish it off.
Yeah, the horn solo's kind of meh. I wasn't blown away, but the stabs are really nice. You forget about them, and then Fishman's just yelling and partying. Yeah. I think he's tired in a good way. And jumping ahead, there is filler on the release of the sound check of Susie, and it was fine.
Right.
I thought it was really standard and similar. It was a weird thing to put on there. But before the My Generation, quoting Robert Mitchum's piece on this one more time,
Yeah.
it's a postscript. And he wrote, this is Fishman speaking. Someone told me that they had read in an interview with Pete Townsend where they'd heard that, I don't know if he's ever heard of Phish or even gives a shit, but that he heard some band in America had covered Quadrophenia, and it was a big date in America. This is what Fishman said to Relics magazine in 2013. He said it sold a lot of tickets and a bunch of people went to the show of Quadrophenia, and what do you think about this band covering Quadrophenia? And his response was negative, like, no one plays The Who like The Who, fuck them, which I thought was just right on. Like, The Who would just be pissed that we would go out and put on a production of Quadrophenia, and that his answer to it was like, fuck those guys in America, we're going to do it right. And I really, I respect all of that. I respect Fishman being confident, like his awe of The Who and of those people. And I also respect, like, The Who just being like, yeah, who gives a fuck? Like, they're still, like, being bold, and I thought it was a great comment. It really made me laugh.
And I mean, like, Pete Townsend
says a lot about the show.
Pete Townsend is an angry little boy. He always has been.
Yeah.
And he's always going to be, and that's what informs his music and makes it so goddamn powerful.
Sure.
Yeah, I've been doing a little bit of a deep dive on The Who with my son Bowie, as I've been kind of listening to this stuff, and he got super into The Who. And we've been listening to all this stuff, and I mean, like, I totally get, it's weird. Some bands I get why people don't super connect with, and I understand why people don't super connect with The Who, but there's something about my personality that I really do. And I just find some of his music just so wonderful and so life affirming. And so it takes, like, a lot of the self-loathing that I have of myself, a lot of the fears, a lot of the tough moments I've had in my life. And I feel like Pete Townsend does, like, a really incredible job of articulating it in a way that makes me feel not alone. There's, like, an emotional... Which
is a skill.
Yeah, there's an emotional
like
component to the lyrics of The Who that I don't find in other classic rock.
How so emotional? Elaborate.
I guess all the self-doubt. I think so much of classic rock is about being bombastic and full of yourself and just being like, I'm going to rock. But I feel like so much of Pete Townsend's stuff is just about like in the same way of John Lennon, I'm a loser or something like that. Just kind of like examining the neuroses. I mean, I feel like Quadrophenia as a whole album is just a double album that's just examining neuroses that arrived from childhood trauma and family dynamics. And even in something like Behind Blue Eyes, which is this big anthem, it's sort of like, behind this big thing, it's actually, it's really raw in here, it's just a ball of emotion. And then I think about the other side of, like, the playful side of Pete Townsend, which would be like The Seeker. Whereas he's not like Mick Jagger or Robert Plant talking about, getting the chicks and hooking up and just the ladies. Like, Pete Townsend's talking about being an introverted intellectual, he's searching for the meaning of life. He's not going to get the answer till the day he dies, and I just think a lot of his lyrics just really, really move me. Yeah.
Well said. Yeah. I do think to have in giant popular rock that kind of introspection and the way the songs they're approaching themes that most people wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole is really bold. It's really it's great.
Yeah.
And I think Phish at this point in their career, this was a good choice and a great show. And when I first went into it, I'm like, I don't know. We'll see if I want to kick this off or have it be on the list. But I mean, this band's played so many good shows, but I think this one stays on. It has enough. It fights all the way through. Yeah. And I had a great time. Yeah, really, really great listen.
So we do have the My Generation encore, which was done as kind of like it was like acoustic at first.
Yes. Bluegrass.
And it sounds really cool. Like, I have to say, on the recording, like, I really dug listening to it, because it's like one of those things where you can't tell exactly what's going on stage, but you can tell something's going on stage. So you can read about it.
y'all fade away. Don't try to make what we all say. I'm not trying to cause a big sensation. I'm just talking about my generation. It's my generation.
And there is, you know, if there are any listeners that aren't super versed in the Who and are interested in, like, you know, doing a little research or checking out some stuff, there is an early performance on the Smothers Brothers where the Who plants a little explosive device in the kick drum without telling the Smothers Brothers, and then they kind of exploded on stage. And it was like a big deal in TV history. And you should watch it because you can, like, see the look on Tom and Dick Smothers, and they're just like, holy shit. And it's a really, really cool moment. Another thing that
Rock and roll, yeah.
Because I don't think this is really debatable. The Who is one of the greatest live acts of all time. I mean, just the energy, the way they took cocaine and used it to its fullest, and alcohol. I mean, they really did it up. There's a documentary called The Kids Are All Right, which I highly recommend. It's not a perfect documentary, but there is some wonderful stuff in it, and there is a full performance of Won't Get Fooled Again at the end with, like, laser lights, and it really is truly one of the most coked out performances of all time and should not be missed by any fan of rock and roll. And finally, there's the Rolling Stones Rock and Roll Circus, and the Who performed this little mini suite called A Quick One While He's Away. At the show was, like, had Jethro Tull and Rolling Stones and the Who. And the Who stole the show. I mean, the Rolling Stones, I know, are still angry to this day because the Who just put on the performance of a lifetime. And so that is also something you want to listen to or check out. But the reason why I brought up the Smothers thing is they kind of redid that in the encore here. They had a little explosive device backstage. And at the end, Trey pulled out a little cane, pushed a button, and there was, like, a big explosion. And in my opinion, that was a nod to the Smothers Brothers performance.
Yeah, it was about smashing instruments and making explosions and kind of finishing up. But I love that they tied the bluegrass back into. I thought that was it was tongue-in-cheek and funny.
Totally. And just to defend Pete here real quick, Pete did invent the guitar smashing. That is Pete Townsend's. And then Jimi Hendrix started doing it at right around the same time. And then after Pete saw Jimmy do it, he said, well, fuck, I can't do it anymore. Jimmy owns that shit. And he was probably right. So, and then he kind of stepped back.
The lighter fluid and the you got to walk away. So that was Halloween 95, and great show. Well played, fun to listen to. And next, I mean, I'm so excited about fall 95 here. We're going to have a great time.
Oh, yeah.
But every show, I look forward at the next handful, and I am pumped. But the next one is
tell us what's next, Sam.
Is 11/14/95.
Oh boy, okay,
in Orlando, which is, I mean, everyone I was like that. I was like, oh yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah,
it's gonna be top to bottom fun. So I'm excited.
I call that the pizzicato stash because Trey does this little plucking section, which always gets me.
Yeah, it's almost like a 2 songs second set in its own special way.
Yeah, it's
like Stash, and then it's You Enjoy Myself. But we'll dig it all apart, and it's gonna be super fun. So yeah, it's been a weird stretch. I listen to shitloads of music, but I don't know that I have recommendations right now.
Yeah,
it's been kind of a dry summer.
Yeah, me too. I did watch this wonderful little film from 1951 called Miracle in Milan. It's a Vittorio De Sica film of the bicycle thief fame. and I loved it. It was like a little, like a fable, kind of like a fantastical little fable, but super positive. And I don't always expect to watch or like to like movies that are super old, especially from the early 50s, because I'm like, oh, what's the
Yeah.
cinematography like? What's the music going to be like? Am I going to be able to connect with this movie? And I thought this was just absolutely wonderful. And I thought if my kids could read subtitles, I'd be all about it, forcing them to watch it.
Yeah.
So,
I just went and watched with my kids. I went and watched the new Pixar film Elements.
oh yeah, what'd you think?
It was fabulous. It was
Oh,
like
great.
real tearjerker. It was all about love. It's kind of an immigrant story, and the animation is gorgeous. I mean, it mainly focuses on fire and water, but they're animated totally different, and they're like the close-up shots. Like, we were kind of up front, and you're back in these seats, lean back. It was very painterly in its animation. It was beautiful. I know my older daughter was very inspired by it, and she really wants to make movies, and she draws a lot of anime, and she got home and was drawing right away. Like, it was very,
Oh, that's so
she was
great.
really into it. And I know it's probably out there, but I'm in a backwater. But next week we're going to go see Asteroid City, which I've been waiting for. It looks
Oh yeah, very
fabulous.
excited for that. Yep.
So yeah, I like going to the movies. I miss going to the movies.
Yeah.
I'll see anything.
Well, yesterday was
Please.
Father's Day, and happy Father's Day, Sam.
Hey, same to you.
I had to work all day, and then I came home at night, and the kids were kind of wiped out, and could give a fuck. It was Father's Day for the most part.
Yeah.
As is the routine.
Father's Day, yeah.
But I knew it was my day, and I kind of said to the family, I'm like, look, guys, we didn't do anything for Father's Day today. I just have one request. I would like for you to just sit down and just watch a movie with me of my choice, for a while. I would just appreciate it if you guys would sit here with me, watch this movie, and just kind of be kind of quiet and soak it up. And my 8-year-old did it with aplomb. He was great. My 6-year-old lasted 15 minutes and then hit his Nintendo Switch. But the movie was Singing in the Rain. And just the best. It's just the best, man. My heart was just exploding with joy watching that with my kids. So I always recommend that.
Good. I like that. I like that. We play wiffle ball.
I like wiffle ball too.
We have a big group, and we go to the park, and we just hang out and play wiffle ball.
Final thing,
it's
Sam.
a nice day.
I'm wearing my Motor Booty Affair, my Parliament Motor Booty Affair shirt right now.
Okay.
And Bowie asked me today, what is the Motor Booty Affair? How would you answer that?
It has to do with rumps, and it has to do with shaking. I would think that it's kind of when you have rumps and they're shaking in a way that makes it feel like it's robotic or hypnotic, and there's a specific movement to it where you look at it for a minute and you think that's probably just a machine. It looks like a machine.
I'm so glad I asked you. Robotic rump shaking. How did that not come to me? Just straight out.
And then sometimes you slide, and sometimes it just shakes. Like it's kind of like a Morse code scenario. It's like a machine.
Where does the water come in because of Aqua Boogie? Is that?
I think everything's just wet. Like it's kind of a sticky situation.
Oh, it's sweat. It's sweat. Okay.
Or there's just a hose somewhere, or there's a pool.
Right.
Summer, like it's hot. It's hot.
Okay.
It's like you're in the pool, you're out of the pool. There's robotic rumps, and there's some sliding.
Oh,
that's all I know.
This is great. Okay.
I mean, I'm skimming the surface, but there's more to be found in the depths of all Parliament that you want to dig for. But I got a little bit there at the surface.
Well, there you go, people. Motor Booty Affair. Get into it.
I just like the cowboy hat riding a dolphin. That's what gets me too. Yes. Good. Yeah. I feel like the world can't be that stupid silly anymore, and that joyously stupid silly, and it pisses me off because I feel that way all the time.
We're gonna get it back. We're bringing it back.
All right. Through this podcast.
Yeah.
Yep. Changing the world. One ear at a time.
Well, another great Halloween episode, Sam. That was a pleasure. I can't wait to discuss some Phish Florida action next time.
Yeah. Non-Florida men invade Florida will be the headlines. It'll be great. Yeah, so 31. We will talk soon. And to everyone listening, we appreciate it so much, and we will be talking at you soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Hello there, friends, and thank you for listening. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or would like to reach out to Ian and I about anything at all, you can find us at companion2thecompanion@gmail.com.